little bit about that. Can I just get a picture of it so I know the crowd? Who teaches Mishnah or Gemara? Okay, both. And who Mishnah or Gemara? So the two practices that I'm going to talk about, one of them is a specific targeted practice called practicalizing Torah terms, and the other one is more general, a method for commercial text. So I'm going to give you a term. If anybody could please, by raise of hand, give me a concise, succinct description of this Muslim. Let's say you're teaching a Mishnah, and it's not the main discussion of the Mishnah. You're, let's say, teaching in Yuma. You have, for example, a Mishnah about bringing the Shar Lazal to the Midbar, and it talks about the idea of Tom Shabbos over there. You're not teaching Sefet Shabbos, not teaching Sefet Eruvin. It's coming up as a side point. Obviously, you want to explain it to the class. So, by raise of hand, can someone please volunteer of how they would sum up the concept, very short, of Tom Shabbos, and I'll give you another option if you want, mikvah. Again, you're not teaching the Sefet mikvahs, but you're mentioned in a Mishnah Yuma or Brachos, a person's kid in mikvah, and you could have a kid who never went to mikvah, never saw mikvah, or even a kid who went to mikvah. You want to give them really what halacha of mikvah is. So, can somebody by raise of hand please volunteer to how they would describe one of these musakim? Now, I like the way Rabbi Greenbaum yesterday in his presentation, he was speaking about communication, but he also managed to bring in other techniques. So I just asked a question and nobody raised their hand. So as a teacher, that could happen in a classroom as well. So what do you do? You come into class and you want to talk about a machlokes that you spoke about yesterday, or Meir and Rabbi Huda, and you want to delve deeper into it. So you start off class and you say, okay, so let's talk about the machlokes. Anybody remember? Raise the hand. What was machlokes or Meir and Rabbi Huda? No. What do? You start panicking. You're a little bit upset. What's going on with them yesterday? So one option, what you could do is, we'll do that again. So anybody can tell me the machlokes of Meir and Rabbi Huda? I see some boys that are raising their hands. Very nice, thank you. I see some boys that are not yet raising their hands, but I'm looking at some of you and I know that you know it. I think that you're just not raising your hand because you're not 100% sure, you don't want to make a mistake. And that's natural because people don't like making mistakes, right? But let's remember, boys, we always talk about this, what the Gemara says. That's right. And again, because in my classroom, this is something we talk about a lot, so the boys will already know what that means. It's a sign in my classroom, that's right. It's a culture in my classroom that the Gemara says that the best way to learn something is not through doing chazara and not through doing homework, but by actually making a mistake in it the first time you do it. So, boys, I see that you're not ready to share yet because you're afraid of making a mistake. But let's remember that making a mistake is actually going to put you in an opportunity to know it better than the boys who didn't make a mistake. So let's try that again. Anybody remember the machlokes of Rabbi and Rabbi Huda? And at that point, I could guarantee you that you'll have at least double the hands go up, even if they don't really know it. So let's try that again. Anybody could please tell me a description of Tchum Shabbos or Mikvah? Thank you. Now, by the way, that was a Maimer Hamuskar. And when I was preparing this last night, I was ready for that right now. That nobody would raise their hand. Why? So that's another thing. You have to always prepare for what might happen in the class. What you expect to happen, actually, no one raised their hand before. I was expecting some hands raised. Nobody raised their hand. I was not expecting that. But you have to always be ready for something, for mistakes to happen. For example, you're teaching Taichin, and there's a shayrash that's very similar. You have to think what's similar sharashim to this that a boy might make a mistake. In other words, vayaratz, he might think and he wants it. Right? It's very similar. You have to always think in your mind, what would a student think in the text? If you're teaching Hachi and Gemara, the boy might think of Hechi or Hacha, or something that's similar to the English translation. Yeah. 100%. 100%. That's fine. That's fine. So, Rabbi Shar, please. Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for sharing. So, no pun intended. So yes. Again, if this was something that I was trying to, if I was discussing from shops, I would do that. This is a side point. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 100%. So, Tchum Shabbos. Let me just say in short, Tchum Shabbos is that a yid is not allowed to walk more than 2,000 ames out of the place where he started, out of the city where he started spending Shabbos. Did that help? Maybe for you because you have a little bit of an idea of what amos is, but for a boy, chances are that you have no clue what amos is. You know, it's a word and it's a size, but that's a lot of amos. So, no, she's left, eh? Well, I think it's there, but I think it's good. Right, what's on? Okay, so you want to say it in English, so it's about, I know there's a lot of sherm about the amos, etc. But okay, let's say 3,158 feet. Etc. Let's just say 3,158 feet. Okay, so that's okay. That's a little bit better. It's a lot of feet. Yeah, I know. It's like 30 centipedes. So that if you so certain people have brains that work spatially. So if I say 3,158 feet, you know what that means. You could already see the picture in front of you. Personally, I'm horrible with numbers. I'm horrible with spaces, with spatial things. I was trying to buy a picture on Jan Living Archive a few days ago, and they give you options of how big you want the picture. It's 60 by 24, it's 30 by 30, and I'm thinking, and I have to make like a calculation of 30 by 30. It doesn't come. So if I hear 3,158 feet, that still doesn't mean much to me. And chances are it doesn't mean anything to 90% of the community. So a simple, making it practical would be if you live in Crown Heights and are teaching in Crown Heights, from 770 to Bishop Philippus is just under 0.6 of a mile, and that's about 2,150 feet. That'll be Tchum Shabbos. So boys, Tchum Shabbos is that you're not allowed to walk 2,000 amas, which is about 2,158 feet. It's about 0.6 of a mile. Practically, that means that you would not be able to, if this was not a city, you would not be able to walk the distance it takes to walk from 770 to Bishop Philippus. So this is a translation in Lashon Kodesh. This is a description of Kodesh. This is a translation in English. This is a point of reference that makes it real and practical. And now we know what Tchum Shabbos is. A mikvah is 40 saw, 89.59 gallons. I don't know what a gallon is, honestly. Like, if you would ask me, like, before this thing, if a gallon is more than a liter or not, I don't know. I don't know, honestly. So, just under 90 gallons. From the audience, could anybody please tell me a practical example? Something that's not, you know what a mikvah is, I know, but what's 90 gallons? Something practical people know it's 90 gallons? Yeah, so the truth is I had myself trouble coming up with a good example at first, so I wrote the 172-liter bottles of soda. So I would tell the boys, next time that you go to the supermarket, I'm sorry, but I couldn't bring 172-liter bottles of soda to class because I wouldn't know what to do for that after. But next time you're in the supermarket, go to the soda section and see if you can count 170 bottles. You know, they're stacked up by rows, so you could, times it, etc. And just imagine you took all those bottles and you filled it up somewhere. That would be a mikvah. Oh, so then I searched, and yeah, according to some home sites, was considered an average bathtub is just under 90 gallons. So yeah, exactly. But this is what's going to drive it home that it's actually something real that they're learning about. So I said in the beginning, this is mainly from Mishnah or Gemara. That's where you have a lot of the terms. It comes up in Chumash. Parshas Nayach, the table was Shlosh Meis Amma Arka or whatever it is. What does that mean? How big was the table? And especially younger grades, you're going to have to really come up with very practical term. What that means, shlosh me'ezama. So it's something that's, until you have all the shiurim of Hin and Efa and Lug, there's so many shiurim all over. Again, this is just musagim of shiurim. Of course, all teachers are good at making things practical and relevant and examples. When it comes to shiurim, I know because my brain doesn't function like that, so I'm sure that a lot of students' brains don't function like that. We say words, what does that mean? Not just in English, but what does that really mean? Yes? Right. Obviously, whatever you can, I'll show this soon. Obviously, whatever you could not just say, but actually bring and show them is way more powerful for sure, and I'll show you that in a second. I want to share two instances of where I used this in class. One of them was before I got married, I taught in Kedel Marsdown, Keep Above. So we learned from Kinus, and we had this study over there of Shalom B'Shishim, Shishim Sa, Shishim Kor. I don't even remember the study so well. What does that mean, Shishim Sa, Shishim Kor? How big is that? So I remember I told the boys then something about a basketball court, the size of a basketball court. I just heard feedback that the next year the students were still saying about the mashal about the basketball court. What does that mean? Why is that powerful? Not because they remember the Gemara. I don't even know if they remember the Gemara. But because that shows that when I said that thing about Shishim Kor and basketball court, that shows that at that moment they connected to the Gemara. Not so much that they remembered it the next year. They don't necessarily remember the whole Gemara. They connected to the Gemara at that time, at that moment they were learning it, it was real, it was practical. It was something to do with my life. Even if the case won't happen in my life, but what the Gemara is talking about is Negea. Another instance I want to share is this year in Elu Metzias, so you have in the beginning the study of Kav Arba Amos, Rabbi Yitzchak, and then you have 4 questions of Rabbi Yirmiyah of Kav Shumshim, Chatzikav, Kabayim, Shmaina Amos, Kav Shumshim, and Kav Rimoni. And we had spent $40, and I got all of the material that was necessary for that Gemara. I bought a cheshbonis, and I bought a kav of barley, and then another kabayim of barley, then another chatzi kav of barley, and then a kav of sesame seeds and some pomegranates, and everything was acted out in the class. With the kids, we figured it out together, we measured how much is this arba amos, then I took the barley and all the kids spread it out, and then the kids role played Rabbi Yitzchak, Rabbi Yirmiyah, etc. Rabbi Yirmiyah, the question. Those kids love the Gemara. And right now I'm not even focusing on the fact that they might remember the Gemara better. They loved the Gemara. It was so exciting. It was so evolving. Something to do with sizes and numbers just became interesting.
And also they were able to anticipate the sugya.
Right. That also helped with the academic learning of the sugya, but even not about the learning, about living it. And I want to digress for a second. I know this year was a big talk on Gemara B'Fnim, and I'm not at all taking away from Gemara B'Fnim, but I want to just, I'll let Safo say that more important than Gemara B'Fnim is Gemara B'Fnim. Okay? When a kid connects to the Gemara, lives the Gemara, then it's you got the Gemara B'Fnim. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Again, that's a very specific, targeted tip of how to practicalize terms of Torah, Musagim, again, Mishnah, Gemara, or Chumash. Next thing I want to speak about is, and by the way, again, I want to interpret Rabbi Greenbaum's model yesterday, something I do in class, that not just in the beginning of class I have what we're going to be learning today, at the end of the class what we learned, but throughout I'll have checkpoints where I'll stop and say, okay, we finished that one, now we're going to move on to the next one. It breaks it up, so let's say the Sugya Gemara would be introduction and reading and translating, and Shakavatarya and Talmud, whatever steps I have in the Sugya, it will be broken up, and throughout, we'll go back to the slide, we'll have checks by what we did and votes by what we still need to do. So it's a very general concept about teaching method of spiritual Spiritual I mean specifically Mishnah and Gemara, not halacha or studios or whatever. And the Hamechnchim. So I was a Hakana Gemara teacher this year in Bavchi Motion Parkway. Next year I'm going to be working with the Mishnayos and Gemara curriculum throughout the yeshiva. So we're really trying to zoom in on learning Mishnayos and Gemara, Hakana Gemara, obviously. Now here's the thing. Let's start off with let's use another example. Somebody that you know not from comes to you and he wants to learn Gemara. He heard about the Talmud, he wants to learn it. No prior knowledge in Torah, he wants to learn Talmud. Okay, beautiful. So you sit down, what Masechta Oper, what tractate, what chapter? Okay, fine. So you sit down, El Metzias, Brachos, whatever it is. You open up, you start reading the Gemara. I guarantee you that within 30 seconds of starting the Mishnah, and the beginning of the Gemara, you will have to stop. And I guarantee you that within 3 minutes, you'll stand up and reach for a siddur and open up to the back page and show them that chart of the Luchos and the Perish Masat. I guarantee it. Why? Because when you teach Gemara, let me answer your question. Can somebody again volunteer? What is Gemara? Very short, very succinct. What is Gemara? Thank you. The Rambam. Does not come as the Rambam to Mishnah, which you all know. The Rambam spells it out. The who clears the Mishnah. So Gemara is explaining Mishnah. What's Mishnah? So you can't start learning Gemara with Gemara. Now, I don't just mean in age, of course. The Mishnah says, Ben Hamechnchim, Ben Esher Mishnah, Ben Mishnah said Gemara, etc. I don't just mean in age. I don't just mean that in our schools, obviously, we don't have them covering the whole Chumash of Mishnah and the whole Shish of the Mishnah. I understand. I don't just mean that in grades that we do Chumash in first grade and Mishnah in third grade and Gemara in fourth and fifth grade. No. Any time you open up a Gemara, this is not just for Achana Gemara the first year. This is any year of learning Gemara throughout the Sifta, throughout Zal. And my boys know that when they learn Gemara as an adult, this is the way they're going to learn Gemara. When you start a parak in Gemara, it's coming from something. It's based on something. So we have the Mishnayos in Gemara. The way they set up the Gemara was they were nice enough to actually print the Mishnayos and stuff inside the Gemara. But before that, it's based on Psukim. So especially when you're dealing with children who didn't learn the whole Chumash, they need to know the Psukim that they're going to be talking about. In our school, Baruch Hashem, the method of learning Gemara is we learn like the Amiroyim learned. How did the Amiroyim learn? The Amiroyim weren't coming to learn Gemara. They made the Gemara. They ended up being the Gemara. What were they doing? They were learning Mishnah. And obviously they were all Baki, Becham, Shacham, Shetera. So we learn like the Amiroyim learned. Every one of my students, and Baruch Hashem, we have 25 students this year. They are 4th and 5th grade. I did Achana Gemara. I got feedback from 23 out of those students. And the last two, I didn't get feedback. Not that I got negative feedback. 23 of those students said that they love learning Gemara and that they're excited to continue learning Gemara. So you're clapping for the Rebbe. It's the Rebbe's brachos, it's Hashem's peiches, and I'm here to share that with you. It's no one's civic, it's Hashem's peiches. So what all my boys walked away with is the pyramid. And the pyramid, this one is a technical one. It has a Chanul Mishnayos and has a Chanul Gemara in it. But really, every single class, if it's not your first year learning Gemara, then every single year throughout Zal, you should have this pyramid of Chumash Mishnayos Gemara at least. But going back for a second to Achana, to the first year learning Gemara, Achana Mishnayos was just a technical thing that we had this year, based on the circumstances. But obviously, the first year of learning Gemara, they should have been learning Mishnayos already for at least a year or two. So it would be Chumash Mishnayos, Achana Gemara, and then Gemara. So the point is that you're learning like the Amiroyim learned, you're making it very, very broken down in steps. You're spending, especially the first year, you're spending a lot of time. Let's assume we're talking about Il Metzias. We're talking about 3 psukim in Kiseitse. By the way, there's a pasuk in Mishpatim about Hashem Saveda, but if you look in the Gemara never mentions that pasuk in Mishpatim except for once there, not even about Hashem Saveda, about the Prikotina. So the entire Parak Mitzvahs in Gemara is only based off the 3 psukim in Kiseitse. So you're learning 3 psukim. Well, these boys know what's going on in those psukim. And then they open up the Mishnayos, and I heard, and Rabbi Kaplan might be able to tell me, I was wondering about this. You're from Rabbi Chadakov about learning the full parak of Mishnayos before you start parak in Gemara. Yeah, okay. I would advise you to, I don't know how to apply this in general for all pakim. I know there's some pakim that it's, for example, a mafkid. Most of the parak is very, very technical. I would have to say to ask advice if you should need to learn the whole parak of Mishnayos before starting the beginning of Gemara. But Il Metzias for sure, especially because the first year learning Gemara, if it's the first year learning Gemara in Il Metzias, it's necessary to learn the entire parak of Mishnayos, even though the end of the parak does go off on a little bit of a tangent, etc. But learn the whole parak of Mishnayos well, the Iyun. What does it mean, the Iyun? That the boys are going to already anticipate what the Gemara's questions are, and by the way, they'll anticipate the Gemara's answers as well. Leave it up to them. They will. They'll figure out what the Gemara is coming to do, and now, when they actually go back after they finish the whole parak of Mishnayos, and they go back to the beginning of the Gemara, They want to learn Gemara. They already are the Gemara. They're the Amiroyim. They already figured out the questions. They already know half the discussions. So that's a general method that we have about learning Torah Shabbal Peh. Again, it's the same thing as if you're just learning Mishnayos. Any character Mishnayos that you learn, they need to know the Psukim. So if you're good, obviously you don't have time to go into the full Mishnah of Psukim, but at least the full Musagim, the words of the Psukim. What we did in our class, I'll show you a picture. This is how we have it in our classroom. This is the wallpaper is on our door. It says "Welcome to Bavel." We try to review a sense of osmosis of Yeshiva Bavel. And the first of all, besides the fact that this pyramid ends up being also a chart and everything, but one specific thing, these bricks by the Kinus is called the pyramid questions. When we're doing the psukim, I will obviously try to manipulate if I need to, but we will come up with all the questions that will be answered in the Mishnayos. And just a little tip, by the way, I'd be happy to go over with anyone who wants after the session a full, in-depth about the method of learning Mishnayos and Gemara. But for now, one small tip: whenever a Mishnah says Shenemar, that's already a red flag because Rabbi Danasi's style, he didn't quote something. Chances are there's something deep about this pasuk that Rabbi Danasi wants to talk about. By the way, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, when you're learning the psukim, don't do Rashi, please. Rashi is the Mishnayos and Gemara. That's the answer. Don't read Rashi, just the psukim. And the boys will either come up with the questions themselves or you'll get them to come up with the questions of all the shenemars in that parak Mishnayos, which is all the drashas of the Chachamim, which means there was a problem in this pasuk that the Chachamim therefore had a drasha on. Those are what we call the pyramid questions, which will lead us into Mishnayos. And then when they learn the Mishnah and they learn Mishnah, hey, of course, it's what they were wondering about since Elul when they learned pasuk Gimel over there. And then obviously you can do whatever you want with this. Try to do the same thing with Mishnayos and Gemara. We have sticky notes over there, different questions that boys asked that we're going to get to later on in the year. And this was Baruch Hashem a tremendous tool for Aslacha in the boys really feeling very comfortable with what Gemara is, excited for Gemara, and again, I think the key is that they're not learning the Gemara; they are really the Gemara. They are the Amirayim, the Tanaim and Amirayim that are discussing the Gemara. So Baruch Hashem went through practicalizing terms and teaching methods for Torah Shabbal Peh. Okay, so that's my our curriculum of teaching Mishnayos, which I can discuss through after. Different icons for different stuff. It's basically Amdat, but yeah. Pyramid questions, that's what we call it. I call them pyramid questions. It's papers. They try to make them look a little bit like not a good idea. Yeah, we call them pyramid questions, which is all the questions in the boys will come with a million questions when we're learning Psukim B'Yod. And I'll either choose to answer ones or not, but yeah. So those questions are all, it's 5 words in Psukim that are being addressed in the Parak Mishnayos, this is only 2.